This is Writing Daily, the show where every single day we get together to talk about writerly things to help you become a better wordsmith, to write more often, complete your short stories, the whole kettle of fish. My name is Devin Galladay. I am the editor-in-chief of In the Know Traveler and the author of the upcoming memoir, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. Today we're going to be talking about the bad first paragraph, and I say that with a certain amount of love in my heart. One of the things that I get, and I'm going to kind of keep backtracking a little bit until we kind of move forward. And by the way, so as always, please take a moment, please like this box that's on the side here, whether you're watching me live or on YouTube or on SoundCloud or iTunes. And we're kind of everywhere now. It's happened in a very short amount of time. Mariah, good to see you. And so it's sort of an exciting thing. So be that as it may, the way I look at it is that frequently I talk about writing as if we were making a film. And when we're making a film, there's sort of like the opening establishing shot might be like, we're about to meet Larry and Sue, and they're going to have a conversation in the bank. So before we get inside the bank, there might be an establishing shot sort of like outside of the bank, and maybe Larry and Sue walking inside the bank. So we're orientated of when we finally have the conversation with Larry and Sue, right? Big thumbs up. That makes sense. So the bad first paragraph is sort of akin to that establishing shot, meaning, let's say it's the first paragraph of an article. The only thing the reader's going to care about is, why am I reading another word, right? Maybe there was a great headline, maybe there wasn't a great headline, but the reader needs to know like immediately why it is that we care about Larry and Sue in the bank or out the bank or any other reason. And so I get a lot of articles. And by the way, I've done this too a million times. And the first paragraph might sound like something to the effect of, the birds were chirping on a clear blue cloudless sky, and mom's apple pie hung in the windowsill. And then we get inside and we find out that, Ronald, the truck driver, died in some car accident, right? Or wherever we're getting to this point. And there's all this writing, this preamble of stuff that people put in sort of like as the establishing shot. Is it useful? I would argue it's not useful, especially if you are writing a book, if you are writing sort of a long thing. I think you only have, especially today, I think where I used to give a book like 60, 70 pages to decide whether or not I was going to get to the end of it. Now it's like 15 pages, only because there's so many other books, there's so many other writings, there's so many other things that I need to be doing with my daily life. I need to get to the thing pretty quickly about why I'm reading it. So that all said, when I do editing, frequently now what I do is I just take that first paragraph that I've written and I just kind of cross it out. I just delete it. And ironically, when I was looking at, when I got my notes back from the editor in my memoir, there was just some first paragraphs that were just like, go. Like he literally just like, go, deleted them. And when I read them, it was like, yeah, no, of course, because we're not getting to the crux of why this scene needs to take place. We're somehow lingering around until I deem, in terms of my own wordiness, that it's like time to write. Like now it's okay to get to the thing that we need to get to. So I have this first paragraph that is almost sort of like this irrelevant thing floating in the stratosphere, and who cares? And I think it's what we do as writers, because we just don't want to say, Reginald, the truck driver, is dead. We don't want to say that. We want to have these other things be placed before we get to that thing. So now we're going to move slightly in the same way, because I'm going to tell you why I thought of this one as something to to cover. And by the way, if you like what I'm doing, please make sure you hit the like button and hit the wow button and let me know that I'm on the right track. And that's whether you're here live with me or whether you're watching in some other place. But, let me know, because that means I'll keep heading along these directions. So that all said, I see my publisher a couple days ago, and the joy of seeing my publisher is every time I go in there, somehow I end up getting a book from a new writer, and or just any new book, which is, for me, it's like going to a candy store and getting, or it's like when you go to See's Candy and somebody hands you like, oh, here's like the chocolate macadamia nut kill you dead sugar addiction thing. So that said, when I went to my publisher a couple days ago, I got this, and ironically, this book isn't even out yet, which is just like, it's like getting Christmas before Christmas. I'll be frank with you. I am right at the beginning of the book, and it's called Collision Theory by Adrian Todd Zuniga. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Anyway, my publisher said, hey, I think you're going to like this one. And I did a little bit of research, and it looks like it's not going to be coming out until the 17th of April. So I guess what I have is an advanced copy of the final edition, which is exciting. But the reason why I started talking about the first paragraph is because I read the first few pages of this book, and I thought, oh, this is what I want to discuss. I want to discuss it. And by the way, I'm giving this book a compliment, even though I'm still fairly early in it. And I don't even know if I can do this legally, but I'm doing it anyway. And hopefully the literary police will not break down my door after I finish this very short first paragraph. And it says, 1, first, I noticed her standing on the building's ledge in low-slung sunlight, looking out over the city. Next, I spy her bare feet. So I want to get straight to the action, and this book does that. And I like what it does. In other words, we're already in the thick of it. There is somebody standing on a ledge, and she's wearing bare feet. And those two things, sort of like side by side, they're interesting things to note. And I think, in a way, they kind of give you almost everything that you want to know about what's happening in the scene. Now, obviously, as we move further away, further down the page, we're going to get into more information and what the narrator's experience is and what he does to rationalize what's happening and how he acts about that. Now, that said, would it be possible, and may have it already been possible, that perhaps this writer, and I'm totally just guessing here, that it would have been very easy to say the San Marcos Bridge was lit up in the night sky or the day sky by sunlight that's sprinkled with dew and hyssop, whatever nonsense that we do as writers, where we're just trying to get to the point where there's a ledge on a building and there's a person standing on it. So we don't need all this additional information to potentially hook us. What we need is we need the thing that is going to put us in the moment right then and right there. We don't necessarily need to know all of the details of what she looked like and how she looked. What we have is we have a ledge and we have a barefoot woman standing on it. And that's a great place to start. Now, that said, there are a couple words in here that I'm just going to throw it out there, and I may save it for a later podcast, which is, I noticed her. And the word is notice. I remember having like some dialogue with my editor about things like when you hear stuff or you feel stuff or you notice things, because the truth of the matter is it's almost like redundant. Like, I wouldn't have written that and by the way, it would be my natural inclination to say, I noticed something. My editor would say, you don't really need to notice it, because if you wrote it, the reader knows that you noticed it. That said, I really like what I'm reading so far with this. And again, this is, it's out April. And by the way, I get nothing other than like my publisher already gave me this. So this was a freebie for me. But I am going to throw out a little plug because I like what I'm reading so far, is Collision Theory by Adrian Todd Zuniga. Again, I'm hoping I pronounced that right. And who knows, I may go back to my publisher and say, hey, maybe we can get this guy on my little show where we talk about writing, and maybe we can ask him about that first paragraph. But that said, next time you do some writing, take a look at what that first paragraph is really getting to. What action is the writer engaging with, or pardon me, what actions are the readers engaging with, and is it useful? Are we just kind of getting to a bunch of billowy adjectives and description without actually giving something a little bit more meaty for the reader to chew on? Like, I mean, certainly one of the, and this isn't always true across the board, but I mean, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, says everything and nothing at the same time, and it's compelling. And so it's a beautiful line that we get to kind of lull around, and that's why most of us know it. Anyway, as always, I'm going to do this every day until I bother to shave my face and wear something other than stripes and plaids every single day. That said, leave a comment, leave a question. Please follow me on Facebook, and as time goes on, I'm going to start doing giveaways. Ooh, brainstorm. I think I'm going to see if I can give this book and maybe some others away through my publisher, because I think that's a fun thing, because I know there's a lot of us who are always looking for new writing talent and new great stories that will inspire us and hopefully shape us to become better writers. How cool is that? So that all said, I'll be here again tomorrow. And leave comments, please please subscribe, do all those things. And we're going to see you here again really soon. Thanks so much for joining me today.